I am one of the co-hosts of the I Don't Think So podcast, where we decide if we think a conspiracy theory is believable or if we really don't think so. The I Don't Think So podcast is affiliated with Flurry Sports, and we present our theories on your favorite place to listen to podcasts every single Wednesday. Rain, shine, no Hannah, no Emily, who knows? If you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a like and a share, and follow us on Twitter at I Don't Think So _EH. We ebb and we flow. So Hannah is actually taking the week off this week, and I am taking the reins. However, I decided to do it a little bit different. So it's not just me, but like I said, affiliated with Flurry Sports. So I have my brother, Jake Osmond, here.
Hello.
Who's going to be joining me this week.
Such intense eye contact.
I know, we're sharing a microphone today, but it's okay. So it's fine. I'll be reading my notes anyway, so you don't even have to worry.
That's going to be great.
But Jake, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. For anyone who hasn't heard the Flurry Sports podcast, I'm from that. Flurry Sports.
Very spooky.
The Play Catch Up podcast with our dad. Yeah, that's fun. But I'm happy to be here. Second time on the show.
Second time on the show. You haven't been here since our very first episode.
Wow.
This will be episode 41.
Whoa. I will say, I almost laughed during your intro because I just thought you were going to keep naming weather conditions. Rain, shine, sleet, ice,
clouds,
a mild, humid day. I was like, please, just keep going.
Keep going. Smoke from the fires,
That's a weird thing.
Yeah?
Can we have a moment to talk about that? Like,
sure.
Are we cool with that? Like,
no, not at all.
We're not cool with it, right?
No,
Like,
I don't understand how it smelled like a pit fire hundreds of miles away.
Smash Mouth was right. My world's on fire.
How about yours?
It's also on fire. I don't know. I think it's weird. My partner Claire the other day said, it is weird, but it's kind of fun to have something everyone's talking about where no one's getting hurt. And I was like, except all the people in Canada. And she was like, that's a great point.
Also, so many people with lung issues are having a really hard time right now.
Lung issues. I know. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. I wish it happened in a more fun way. Like, hear me out. Like, if fireworks were happening in Boston, I wish we could hear them. Sure.
If it was like genuinely no one was getting hurt.
Yes, absolutely. Like a big celebration. The confetti floats.
Fun.
Fun. You know how you let a balloon go as a child?
Yeah.
Be fun if you could, like, see those. God, I'm weird. You know what I mean? Like, every year, Chicago lets, like, 1 million balloons go for St. Patrick's Day. It'd be funny if they floated over Eau Claire.
I mean, they probably... No, they don't. They go
like
right in the ocean
cluster.
and kill a turtle.
Yeah, right. And the turtles are like, incoming! They come in.
Look at all these jellyfish coming down. So colorful, I'm going to eat one. It's a bad time for them.
Why is there a spaghetti noodle on the end of this? Yeah, it's a bad time. But I'm excited to be here. I think this is going to be, for longtime listeners, I think I'm going to be an interesting pose to this show because I think it's fair to say I'm a little more cynical on the side of most things like fun and whimsy. Could this be real? I'm like, no, the world is how it is.
You're a little bit more black and white.
I'm a little more black and white. I'm also, when we get to the or the absolutely not section, I don't feel like I have a lot of absolutely nots in my life. I feel like I have a lot of like, probably shouldn't,
Okay. No. Wrong.
So, you're right. Like, I don't know. Emily and Hannah, my whole life, have basically been behind me going, have a spine. Be more aggressive.
That's right.
So, I don't know. I think this is going to be a moment of growth.
Good for you. I did not pick a category that I would necessarily say is whimsical, but I certainly would say it's fun.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, are we going to talk about like all charities are secretly just giving money to the bourgeoisie because
Yes.
it's like, oh, one of those? Okay.
Oh, no, I wish.
Capitalism's a lie. Yeah, what do you want to talk about? Okay,
Well, that I
my
do.
bad. Yeah.
But anyways.
Belief. I do think so.
Fully there. So for those of our listeners who have never listened to the Flurry Sports podcast, yes, you hear sports in the name, but oftentimes you don't always talk about sports.
That's true.
So Jake, I want you to tell me a little bit about the show Vanderpump Rules.
Oh my God, Emily! Oh man, heart palpitations. Stick with me, people. Oh, Vanderpump Rules. Vanderpump Rules is a show on the Bravo TV network, and it is originally a spin-off of the Housewives of Beverly Hills. Lisa Vanderpump, it was a housewife, still is a housewife on that show. She owns many, many restaurants because she's a boss-ass bitch. Mogul. Rich. I have mixed feelings on Lisa. We can talk about that. Maybe is that the conspiracy theory? Is Lisa a nice person? Because that's a fun one to discuss. But she owned this restaurant, Sir, and I believe it was her second restaurant. And the show is spun off of people who legitimately work at the restaurant. They picked a crew of folks who were like friends. Some of them were dating each other on that show, but they also worked together. And it was just a good group. Like, it's a bunch of kids who aren't really from Hollywood. So it's like a mix of like I feel like no one ever talks about that. It's like definitely people who want to be famous. Like, they're working at a restaurant in Hollywood for a reason. Like, they're trying to make it big. The show is part of that. But literally you get to see, it's been on, I think this was season 10. So you've seen them like literally have no money and have some money, but I mean, they're living in Beverly Hills. So it's like they're spending a lot of money too. They come together. A lot of things happen. They all cheat on each other. They all date different people, all culminating in the big moment, which is the one relationship that's like stuck through it this whole time. Tom Sandoval and Ariana, no more, because Tom's a worm with a mustache, as fans of Vanderpump Rules know, and he cheated with friend Raquel, who, this is all you need to know, folks. The day that Ariana was at her grandmother's funeral, Tom couldn't make it. Oh, stomach flu. Ooh, shagging Raquel in a jacuzzi.
What a bad guy.
What a bad guy. Raquel, also not great.
Not a great person.
Not a great person. And like, especially, I think sometimes she looks worse in watching back. I know we're going to get into meat potatoes here, but
that's okay.
She looks worse watching back sometimes because there's moments in this last season when we now know that this affair is going on where Raquel's like, man, Ariana, I just, maybe you should break up with him. I don't know, is like doing that and is also like apparently asked Tom to be in a 3-way relationship. Oh. This is according to Raquel. Was like, I said it as like I did everything I could. I asked Tom if we could make it a threesome thing, and he said no. And I said, well, I tried.
What are you going to do?
So it's weird. It's weird. And then they asked her, why'd you do it? And she said, I wanted to know what it felt like to have sex with someone I loved.
Oh, honey.
Which is weird. Super weird. Tom also has said that he's loved both women, but doesn't want a threesome relationship. So he's a scumbag. She's not great. Ariana's the best. But it's just people living their lives. That's Vanderpump Rules. One of them's a DJ. What do you want to know, So I love it. I love it because I can't always connect with some of the richer people on the Real Housewives.
Yeah.
Vanderpump Rules, it's like they're like working in customer service.
They're like, been there.
Been there. I kind of get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the quick synopsis.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. So this one is actually all kind of related to the Scandoval that is currently going on. So a former housewife star discusses her conspiracy theory about the Vanderpump affair. So she comes from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Her name is Teddy Mellencamp.
Okay.
And she said that she believes there's something a little inauthentic about the Vanderpump Rules cheating scandal. In fact, she wonders if her former friend, Lisa Vanderpump, orchestrated the whole thing behind scenes to boost ratings for this Bravo show.
Ooh.
She says...
Claire's going to hate that.
Oh!
I can't wait. Okay, good.
Teddy says, quote, she probably paid Raquel to do this, end quote.
Interesting.
Yeah, talking about the cheating scandal between Tom and Raquel. The former Housewife star said on an episode of Melissa Gorge's On Display podcast that, quote, nobody cared about Lisa's show until now. Quote, I think Lisa wants the best for herself, as I would as well. You guys wouldn't? You would want your shows to tank. That's what she said on the podcast.
Ooh.
She even went on to guarantee that Raquel will be engaged and pregnant within a year, which will only increase interest.
Okay.
And on March 1st, news broke that Ariana dumped Tom, boyfriend of 10 plus years, after discovering he cheated on her with Raquel, their co-star. Tom and Raquel have both apologized. Lisa then appeared on Watch What Happens Live last week to discuss the scandal and defend the co-stars. She says, quote, actually, I really want to talk about this because this kind of vigilante justice, I don't agree with at all. She's talking about like the backlash.
Yeah.
And there's been some death threats against Tom and Raquel, which are never
absolutely
appropriate or okay for those listening.
Yeah.
She also says, quote, I think these are people that are living their life in a public forum, which is very difficult. There's so much infidelity in the world. It's not like they murdered anyone, end quote. She also added, quote, I'm not saying we should let them off the hook, condemn their actions, but don't condemn the people. All this aggression, it can have serious ramifications. I really mean that. I think everybody should be careful with that. I don't like it, and I don't want to see it. Now, that all came out.
Imagine that in a British accent, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Which Emily will now do for you.
Oh, that's okay. Any whoosies. But, you know how I said what Miss Teddy had come out and said? There is now, as of June 6th, granted, not great, news source, it's from E News.
Okay.
There are rumors that Raquel is actually pregnant with Tom's child. So how far-fetched do you think Teddy could actually be?
Okay, there's a lot of stuff here, so I'm just trying to think of how to break that down based on, because this is the interesting thing of Bravo. I will start by directly saying I will flat out say I don't think Lisa, if the accusation is that this is all a manufactured thing, I don't agree with that. I think this is a real affair. I think maybe, and we can talk about this, I think there's a real, if you told me we find out that Lisa knew about this the whole time, and somewhat supported it, which would be incredibly scandalous, I would believe, I think. And we can talk more about some of those specifics. The weird part there, right? And I was thinking about that because I knew that there were rumors of pregnancy when you said that. Yeah. So that was where I was wondering if it was going to come back in. My thought to that is, to Teddy's thing, I think there are things that Lisa is doing for sure. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how Vanderpump fans, because I don't think Claire agrees with me always when I get on this point of how corrupt I think Lisa is, and Claire's on that track, but I have said that I don't think they could kick Tom off the show because I don't think Lisa would let them. And Claire, who's super into Bravo way more than I am, she's gotten me into it, and other folks I think online have said no, he might not be back on it. Everyone hates him, yada, yada, yada. And basically that maybe Lisa doesn't have that much sway. It's her show, but it's Bravo's show. It's Andy Cohen's show.
he gets the final say in kind of who's there, who isn't.
Correct. And there's contracts and things. And so, and to that sense, they've never been more popular. I think it's a little aggressive, Teddy, to be like, no one was watching the show. I think it used to be one of their biggest, and it has trickled down. Yeah. And now I think this last year was by far their biggest.
Well, biggest year for them.
Huge. I will say, to Teddy's, the only thing I didn't like about Teddy's accusation was, like, if they get married, like, I was like, how does having a baby, like, how is that scripted, I guess? Like, if the allegation is this is all fake, this is all sham, I don't know if it goes the route of, is it a fake pregnancy? Is that, and
now they're a family and they're
a family and they're together. Because there's also rumors. I mean, this isn't a rumor. The rumors are if it's true or not. But Tom and Raquel have announced that they've broken up. Now here's why some people don't believe that is they announced it the day of the true finale of this season. So people think it was kind of to soften the blow of like, we're no longer together. So that's out there. They asked Ariana about that though. Yeah. On Watch What Happens Live. And she said she doesn't believe it because her and Tom are still sharing a house. And which,
Raquel and Tom are? No,
Ariana and Tom.
Ooh,
I know a
messy.
different messy thing. It is a huge house, but still very weird, very gross situation. I will say, like, I think Lisa. Here's the thing. I think I watched that Watch What Happens Live, or at least some of it, and because Lisa talked about that piece of it, and she was like, "Well, Schwartz and Katie, two other people on the show, also are living together after they divorced, and no one cared." So I think this particular situation has made it weirder. Sure, that they're living together, but it's a big house. They're working it out. But the weird part is Ariana said that they got mail because it's the same house. And in there was a letter from Raquel for Tom. And that was like...
Who is mailing people still? Text this man.
I know. And this is after the news has come out of break. So it's like, she has said, I think they're still together. And other... Yes. So let me just say this. Lisa, to talk about that, like the real heart of what you're getting at here. There are some... I think big things to know with some of those allegations, which is, one, Lisa on the reunion was like, what? I'm not going to be Tom's friend? Like, it's like, weird. So I do think, one, obviously, right? Don't do death threats. Like, no. And don't even like wish harm upon them. Like, you have to be better than bad people. Yes. Like, that's, you
can't do to everybody's level,
Yes. So if what she meant was doing bad things to bad people does not make you a good person, I agree. I think that's hard sometimes. I also think the mindset people get into sometimes is like, it's different if Ariana does something or if we do something as fans. Like, it's like, I care about Ariana so much, I'm going to call you out. And it's like, you're not involved. You're not
actually involved.
They don't know you exist. Like, so... that part is weird. Like, on the show, Ariana said, like, I just want people to know I can't be friends with someone who's friends with Tom. And that's where I'm at right now. And Lisa said, what about me? Like, Lisa literally didn't understand that. She's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm going to be business partners with him. We own a restaurant together. You expect me to change my friendships because of this? And yes is the answer. And Ariana, who also is like somewhat employed by Lisa, had to be like, no, like, do what you want. But that's a fair expectation to set. But one, I think there's some foundation there of like, Lisa's clearly shown like,
she's a shady person.
She's a capitalist, man. Business first. I don't think that like, she doesn't want to stop working with any of these people. Here's what I think. There's no way she wants these people off the show.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of it being planned in that way, I do think some of that could be true of like, once this is coming out, I think Lisa for sure is team captain of everyone comes back. Everyone comes in. Yeah.
All three of you have to sit in a room together staring at each other.
Yeah. Let me throw some wood on the fire. Here's a couple things that maybe you don't know that Bravo fans would know that could lead themselves to this. One, the whole thing with this has been, it is not the first time, and Raquel is part of this, someone has joined the show to get on it, basically, and like to start shit. James, when he joined the show, was dating the then ex-girlfriend of Tom, Kristen. And the whole deal was he was dating Kristen to get on the show. He's revealed as much later. That was the reason it was happening. And like there was allegations of him cheating with Kristen while she was still with Tom to like do that and all these things. So it's like that happened. And like the show knew about it. Raquel then got on the show by dating James. And so, yeah, in a weird roundabout way. I don't love James either. But, like, so she's on the show because of that. And listen, hardcore Bravo fans, I know I'm not doing this justice and everything, but I'm just bringing up things that are sparking in my mind as a newer Bravo fan. So, but here's the big deal that I think is important in that. This is all weirdly after Raquel was pitched to, like, date Tom Schwartz, who's divorcing Katie, also on the show. So Schwartz and Katie are splitting.
Yeah.
Raquel's on the show kind of without a purpose. Like there are people on the show who are literally like, why are you still here? We don't want you on the show. You were just dating him to get on and now you're not together. Like, why are you still here? And then Tom Sandoval, weirdly, because they're secretly banging behind the scenes, but like Sheena and Ariana, who she's betraying, are like, you should date Schwartz.
Right.
Like they're kind of setting them up. And that's a big point of like contention on the show, especially with Katie, of like, don't set people up with my ex-husband. This is weird, especially people I don't like.
Yeah.
So
fair.
So that is happening. Like that's a thing that exists on the show of like, you know, there are some setup things and it's a known thing.
Yeah.
Here's the two big credences I would give to this off of that. One, and Andy Cohen said this on the show, and I don't think Lisa thinks cheating is a big deal.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like she's like, it happens all the time. Why are you upset? And it's like, well.
So, and I think she's kind of using the death threat thing to be like, you know, everyone should just get over it. I think, and that's so harmful. To the point of that, I will say everyone on that cast, besides Katie, to my knowledge, has been in some sort of cheating scandal. Even Ariana. And Ariana, to my knowledge, it was a much lesser, like her big thing was she kissed Tom while he was in a relationship with someone else, but he told her that they were broken up. So she was, you know,
she was under the impression.
She was under the impression she was misled. Like, I'm not totally defending her. I'm just saying, like, you know, that feels different to me than, for example, the Tom and Raquel thing. Yes. Or any of the other things that have happened with the other cast members. And even Andy Cohen brought that up on the reunion of like, listen, isn't this hypocritical? Like, you've all done this. Lisa has kind of been of that opinion. So on that end, I don't think it's far-fetched at all to be like, if Lisa did know, would she care?
Right.
She would, and this is what I think eventually maybe could come out, like, I wanted him to say something.
But I wasn't going to intervene.
No, it didn't bother me. I hope they're still together. Like, love is love. You know, like, I think she might be in that camp. I think it doesn't bother her. And here's where it gets spicy. And this would be so funny if it was true, because it was a joke on the show as it was happening. And if it came to be Lisa knew about this whole time, was kind of orchestrating it, be kind of funny, because Lisa's husband Ken is oblivious. He's just on the show, like, it's just a British man who's kind of there, and he's older now. Like, him and Lisa are both older. In the middle of the season, Lisa, and obviously they're filming this before they know of the cheating scandal, Lisa clearly fed him a line. Like, Lisa was like, I want you to say this so that I can talk to you about it in front of Katie, who is Ariana's friend.
Sure.
I just want an excuse to say it out loud. And the line she feeds him is, can you believe that Tom Sandoval was in a jacuzzi with Raquel?
Oh, she knew.
Yeah. And at the time, like when it comes out, it's this big joke of like, Ken cracked this case wide open. Like,
obviously,
Ken was on it before anyone else. Because on the show, when that happens, and that's the weirdest scene in the whole show to me, because the difference in now versus then.
Oh, I'm sure.
They were going to cut that from the show. Like, it was a nothing scene. Because it's like, Katie hears is like, cool. Like,
okay.
Says it to our, like, no one cares. Because it's like, yeah, I knew they were at a jacuzzi. I don't, like.
What did I
and she's literally best friends with Raquel.
Right.
So she's like, yeah, I knew they were together. I don't,
I'm not threatened. You should be.
In some way, right? She's bringing it up to talk about. And some of that is it's a reality show and you got to bring up points. So maybe I guess the current truth of that moment is, and they talk about on the reunion, I think said like, I just thought it was interesting and wanted to talk about it, and everyone's like, yeah, I didn't think anything of it, So that's the current truth of it is like, I just thought it was an interesting stir the pot moment. And everyone was like, whatever. But could you paint me a world where it's like, she knows and she's like, time to start
dropping in hints,
getting it out there. So later she can be like, I tried, or Ken tried.
Go Ken.
Go Ken.
To me, it's looking at it. Do I think she is the mastermind, the orchestrator, and like, is like paying Raquel to sleep with Tom? In my opinion, probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. Just to talk on that briefly, I think that's a very interesting, for this specific show, right?
Yeah.
That is run on drama. And just to like give that credence, I think Teddy is not like, is the person in Bravo saying this, but I've basically heard that mentality somewhat of like, I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist to be like, this show was at its peak when all this infidelity was happening. Like early seasons are like, Jax is getting Stassi's name on his arm while sleeping with two other girls. And like Kristen is yelling at Tom about being faithful while shagging James, and shagging Jax. Like that is kind of like the heart of the show. And now, ratings are fading. I think the hard part is I don't think Vanderpump fans felt like it was worse in quality.
Sure.
Like, I think it's other people who maybe lapsed on the show or have never watched it who are like, this is so interesting.
Well, I hadn't heard of it until
correct.
And so came out.
And it is a spin-off, right? Like, that was the initial thing of it. Right. So I don't think it ever had this mainstream thing until now. So that is an interesting thought of like, we need something big and juicy. So on that end, I don't know if that's the hard part is I just don't, how could she have possibly manufactured this? I don't know. I do the grossest possible thing, and there's no evidence of this, right, is Tom comes to her very early on and she encourages it. Right. And maybe because like Tom in all of his things is like, listen, me and Ariana are like dead. So maybe he comes forward and he's like, listen, things aren't going good. I'm cheating. I got to tell her. And maybe Lisa's like, hey, you're not happy, have an affair.
And I have this weird sinking suspicion that like,
allegedly,
this is all alleged. This is all my opinion.
Yeah.
Anyways, I live in the world of gray, but to me, it just seems like, I almost think they were sleeping together.
Yeah.
Lisa found and said, ooh, I'm going to drop this line to Ken. And then it starts getting looked at. And then things spiral. You live around cameras.
And I will say, just because you don't know this and Bravo fans know, it's just like, that doesn't lead right. Well, Ariana just happens to look at Tom's phone during a concert and sees FaceTime videos and things and finds out about the affair. Whoa. So, does that message from Ken really lead to anything? No. Does it maybe plant the seed?
I feel like it plants a seed.
Sure. And some of the other shitty stuff Tom's doing also probably plants a seed.
Right.
So it's like wasn't treating her good. So like I think some of that stuff's there. Here's the big thing, dude. Like the accusation that she would do something like that for the show, I think you could argue is playing out. And like this is the place where I think Bravo fans need to land on is like, what do you, and I asked this question to you, Emily, like from what you know about it, and maybe someone who's not hooked on the show,
right?
Like, do you bring these people back? Because I think Lisa is for sure like, yeah, like bring them back. Raquel's never leave, because that's the only weird thing now is like if Raquel is not dating Tom, what is she doing on the show?
Oh, she's not leaving because she is just there for drama.
She's just there for drama. I don't think they will be allowed to leave, and whether that's a Lisa call or a Bravo call, like I think they want them back. I think they understand what the cash cow here is.
Oh yeah.
I think they know it's them. I think even if they're not on, what the hell else are we going to talk about?
Right.
So
this is going to be big news for the next season.
I think yes, at least. So I think that accusation holds some water in that way. But I just can't see it all being a manufactured. So I guess I don't think so, is the conclusion I'm going to land on there for the show today. But I will say, get into this. It's a fun thing. But here's my question to you, and I rambled through it, okay? Is a reality show like this. Do you think it, like in a sense, isn't it all manufactured?
Oh, yeah. I mean, every interaction is manufactured.
Yes. And
thinking so, like even going back to like Jersey Shore and those kinds of shows, and Jersey Shore is not obviously on.
Sorry, our
camera's gone blue, but anyways, blue, Baba.
Anyways,
I don't know. You know, looking at Jersey Shore, looking at Below Deck, which is another Bravo show that I actually really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
Those interactions are so manufactured.
Right, like they have to have stuff to talk about. The only thing I will give to some of the Bravo shows is I think they avoid some of that manufacturedness sometimes by filming a long stretch and really cutting it down.
Yeah, like, and making it look worse than it is half the time.
Correct. And like, listen, Vanderpump editors have come out and said, like, we made Sheena look bad for 6 seasons. Like, that's a thing they've done, you know, right. And admitted to. So I think that's there. That's the only weird part, I guess I would say about the accusation itself is like, I did immediately kind of roll my eyes at, it felt ingenuine. Yeah. I mean, doesn't it all kind of like, you know, like what's a genuine affair? I don't know, you know? So right. I think they need to talk about it. Here's my one thing, and Bravo fans are going to harp on this. Let me actually like defend my I don't think so for a second.
Yeah.
If Lisa manufactured this, yes, the Ken thing, it could be a nail in the coffin of like, ooh, she knew, she said something, or had Ken say something. Listen, this didn't come out until after the season was over.
Right.
So if it was really, and I know it's still boosted ratings, and so maybe that was the grand scheme, is I'm going to put it out.
Or it was the start of next season.
True. Well, and here's the reality of it. The reason Tom hadn't broken up with her yet is because Tom was going to go on the Winter House show.
Right.
And didn't want to be the bad guy on that. So.
Too bad.
And now it doesn't sound like he's going to be on that show. So Tom Schwartz is, though. So, but yeah, so I mean, that's why it didn't come out from Tom's perspective. But that, I guess, would be my one thing is like if she really wanted it to be the thing, wouldn't it have come out during their filming time rather than post? So, and maybe she, like you said, was saving it. I don't know. But yeah, I guess those are all my thoughts on that. The only other thing I will say is the reunion. Bravo's wild in their reunions. First off, this affair, bro, I've said this to a million people, but it's so fun to me because I love Vanderpump, and the season never fucking ended. It was
because they kept having one more.
Yeah, they had one more episode because they filmed the season, then the affair broke. So they had a finale. Then they were like, here's the real finale when we came back with our cameras because we had to pick them up because shit was real. So then they did the finale. Then they do a reunion. which is usually 2 parts, but it had to be 3 because it's so real, it's so uncut. And then they said, tune in next week for secrets revealed, and then they had more footage.
That's crazy.
So it just, and now it's done. It's finally over. But it's like I felt like I watched 5 season finales. So
kept going.
It did just keep going. So I thought that part was weird. So that part, and to Lisa's point about like, and this is maybe a broader point, I do think as a society, we've got to be like a little smarter, a little better. Like, how do we criticize bad things? Especially like, I think we're way harsher on infidelity than murder, right? Or like, here's what I think. Like, I don't think we are like, God, that's going to get taken out.
That's not good.
In the prison system is like different, but I mean like public opinion. Okay? Like, hear me out on this. Like, someone's accused of cheat. Like, here's an example. Taylor Swift is like getting dragged through the coals right now because of who she's dating. Again.
Who's she dating?
Damn it. I knew you were going to ask me. But
I can Google that. That's fine. It doesn't matter.
You know who she's dating, people listening to this right now. And the accusations are that he's done bad things. He's not a great person, kind of a scummy guy. And like...
She's cheated on a bunch of people.
Well, and everyone's shitting on her.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Like,
I haven't heard any of
this.
What are you
doing? Well, like, Taylor fans are like I heard someone who spent thousands and thousands of dollars on a Taylor ticket be like, I might be done with her. And it's like, really? Like, this is
the
what does it? And I'm not saying it's great, but it's just like, and listen, I'm not defending these actions. Like, do Tom and Raquel deserve, like, maybe to not be on the show, deserve to not be friends with these people, deserve Ariana's scorn and like feedback? Yes.
Yeah.
Does she deserve like Lala and James on the show calling her a worthless piece of shit and like saying you were never worth anything? And I like,
woof.
Ariana literally told her after finding out that she was in, or maybe this was Lala, like Raquel's like, I have issues. I'm going to like mental health counseling for it. Lala said, good, you're a fucking psychopath and you need, like, you have things wrong with you. Like,
wow.
And like Raquel also heard from Ariana. Ariana literally said, I want you to hear this. I want you to hear that you are nothing. And at night, I want it to keep you up, that no one loves you. And like,
wow.
And Jennifer Lawrence, who we love, I think said it best. I saw a clip of her being like, did Raquel have it coming? Yes. Was it hard to watch? Yes. And I think like from them, and then like them getting death threats and all these people like on a show where everyone's cheated. I don't know. I just think like it is an interesting phenomenon of like, let's reevaluate like how angry we get. To use a sports metaphor, Tyler Hero, who's from Wisconsin, decided to go to Kentucky, I believe, for college basketball rather than Madison after committing. He gets death threats.
And that's not appropriate.
But right? I'm just saying it's like he gets death threats. You know who I've never heard of getting death threats? OJ. I'm just saying, like, you know, like,
I mean, I think
he probably has, but I'm just saying, like, maybe it's because they're already in prison, but I don't hear murderers get death threats. I don't hear them on social media being like, I hope you're worth this. I hope you know that. But it's like when people do these kind of social things, which are terrible. Yeah. It's like we're wishing death upon them.
Right. And I never think that's appropriate. I will go there.
Yeah.
I think people, where the dichotomy comes in is like, you know, looking at OJ. I mean, he was found innocent.
And I know I'm covering a lot of different things here. So
right.
Yeah.
But like in the hopes of murder, that there's going to be criminal punishment. Whereas socially, there's no criminal punishment. It's just the social punishment. And do I think you should tell someone that they are worthless and that they're, you know, whatever. And you're allowed to be like, listen, Ariana's allowed to be mad.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like, I hope that didn't come across. Like, I agree with what Jennifer Lawrence said. Like, she had that coming. I'm not saying, don't say that. But I just think, like, it was hard to watch. And also, like, that is her response. So you can respond however the fuck you want because you're in that. But can we acknowledge it, like, like if someone else said that who wasn't Ariana, that'd be bad, right? Like that'd be like, that's too far. So I think that's fair. And I think that's a good line to draw of like someone in that boat. Sure. Other people coming in and being like, I wish death upon you, especially,
Right.
but like, even like, I hope the rest of your life is ruined and all this stuff. I just think, I don't know. I think media like that gets to a weird and interesting place. And I hope people can like take a step back. Here's what I would say. Don't like, would it be okay to say like, I just don't want people to take this the wrong way, but like, don't let it ruin your life.
Yeah.
You know, like if you are watching Vanderpump Rules and you are so mad about what is happening already, like
you need to
wish support to Ariana all the time. But like, if it is that hatred is like infecting how you see the world, and
you got to go walk on
operating,
some grass.
yeah, like go to a counselor, you know, like talk it out, be nice. And like, I'll give you a hug. Like, I don't know, like, what do you need? But
yeah.
I don't know. It's just like, that'd be my one thing. And maybe that gets us into our absolutely nots, but it's just like,
I think this is our longest episode thus far.
Oh shit. How long do these episodes?
30 minutes usually.
Oh, hey, welcome to the Flare Sports Podcast. God damn it. Okay.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. Well, this will transition us into our absolutely not. Hannah and I live
time on the show.
No, it's fine. Hannah and I live in the world kind of grays, as we've always mentioned. Yeah. And so this is our segment where we get to complain about things that we absolutely hate. But now it's Jake's turn.
Yeah. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I think this is tough for me to be like, what do I like?
What do you hate?
Is there anything you can think of that you're like, you hate this?
Oh, every day of my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, like me. That you're like,
oh, for you?
You, Jake.
Oh, come on. I know. Think of my own, and now you got to think of yours?
I know. Oh, well, no. I did have a ton of prep time for the show. I guess here's the thing.
If you want me to go first, I can.
I would love for you to go first.
Cool. Okay. So my absolutely not is this new thing that I found out that exists.
Yeah.
So this happened probably like a week or so ago.
Yeah.
Where I was laying in bed and all of a sudden I was like, it's kind of hard to breathe. Oh, well, I wonder if I'm having an allergic reaction, you know, but I was like, it's fine. I went to sleep, woke up, and I was like, it felt like something was in my throat. So I'm digging around looking for stuff. And on one of my tonsils, there's this big white spot. And so I'm like, oh my God, do I have strep? Even though my throat doesn't hurt, doesn't da-da-da-da-da. So then what do? I Google my symptoms. Which is never, that's also an absolute
I thought you were going to absolutely not WebMD, and I'm like, I'm all over that.
Yeah, that's honestly up there. But it's probably a tonsil stone, which I don't know if you don't have tonsils, so
no,
good for you.
Lost them a long time ago, yeah.
It's like a calcified rock that gets like lodged in your tonsils. And so it's like, oh, la, 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 la. You can either go get it removed. Sometimes it falls out on its own. Or you can try and pick it out. So what have I tried to do? Pick it out. I got a water pick, thinking, because that was what was recommended.
Okay.
I have waterboarded myself every day since my absolutely not is that water pick. It is so, I like it for flossing now. It's great. I feel like my teeth are super clean.
Yeah, I bet.
That being said,
could be cleaner.
I just about killed myself. I was soaking wet because it's literally a mini pressure washer on my tonsil. I swear to God, I thought I died twice. So
that's wild. Hold on. So you're absolutely not your tonsils? Like, what is the
all of the above? WebMD, my tonsils, my water pick,
my bodily functions.
The fact that I can't. It's still in there. I could not get it out. I've kind of given up on it.
Absolutely not as a healthcare system where I couldn't just go into the doctor.
Insurance, you know?
Yeah, but to that point, I've had stuff where it's like, God, that really hurts. And then I'll look it up and be like, oh, lymphoma.
I'm dying. Who knew?
Oh, no. Like, Emily knows this. I played tuba for years.
Right.
And I carried it on my left shoulder. My left shoulder is bigger than my right one.
Right.
And I had friends and strangers come up to me and be like, hey, man, I Googled it. And I think you have a tumor.
I think it's cancer.
And I was like, I just played the tumor, man. Like, it's not a, you know.
It's just a muscle.
And of course, are you sure? No, I guess not. And I guess I'm dying. Like, I don't, you know, so, but I made it this far. So it's at least benign.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, what's your absolutely
my
not?
Absolutely not. And this, I hope, after I went on a rant earlier, maybe this can be a nice kumbaya, let's come together and support each other moment.
Sure.
I do this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it's an absolutely not. I think we can all agree this sucks.
Sure.
And as a unit, we will stop doing this. I hate when people say, don't worry about it. Like, we all do. That's not a hot take. It's not and I try so hard not to do that.
Right.
But here's what my absolutely not is. My brain. And your brain too, and everyone's brain. Is we know that sucks.
Yeah.
And then we hear someone else say, I'm so worried about what this person thinks of me who I met one time at a restaurant.
Yeah. And it has no impact on my life. La, 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 la.
And your brain goes,
just don't worry about it. Why are you worrying about that? There's no reason to worry about that.
Here's why I think we need to get over it. Because I do think there are some times where that is correct. Yes. Right? Like, we have to say it less so that we can say it sometimes. Because there has to be times where it's like this is an example. I had a college student come up to me and they said they were afraid their professor didn't like them because they missed a class without emailing them ahead of time. Oh. And they don't care, right? Like, they're a freshman student. That happens all the time. They sent them an apology email. Like, that professor's like, this kid's great. There's no doubt in my mind that, like, they're not fine. They're not worried. And they said in the email, you're good. You're fine. And they're still like, man,
you hate me forever.
I think they really don't like me. And what I want to be able to tell them is, don't worry about it. But I can't, because we've made a system where it's like we say that to real things of like, well, we used to not treat anxiety. Right. That's what we did. That's what we've done.
Stopped worrying.
And so we were like, man, you should just stop worrying. So my absolutely not is like, it's that weird feeling of like, I know this. I know that this isn't helpful. I know that I hate when people do this. Right. And I still do it. So it's like, can we just tell people to chill out? Is that more acceptable? No. Relax, buddy. That seems
maybe it has to be more of like a don't worry and here's how not to worry. Because I think where I get so upset is like it's the just don't worry about it. And it's like, if only I could. Like, if that was as easy as it was, great. But it's not. So maybe it's like, to that professor example, it's like, here's why you don't need to worry about it. He said you're okay. All these people do, and you give 6 reasons. And will you still worry about it? Maybe. Yeah. But at least you have facts.
Maybe this will be helpful, because I'm not a psychiatrist. So I'm not going to tell people what the right response is. I think yours makes sense. Maybe that's right. But for me, maybe what I want to hear in those boats, one, I think I need to hear sometimes, you don't need to worry about that. Like, and maybe that just feels different of like, feel like you're good. Like, I feel like that's not what's happening from what I'm hearing. Like, I think we're okay.
From my perspective.
Like maybe more iMessages of like, and you know what I want to hear more often from people? You're really good at this, but like, I want to hear people just be like, yeah, man, I get that. I would be worried about it too. Like, validating. You're really good. Emily and I are great at like both being like, I've been anxious about that my whole life as well.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you're here.
So it's like, sometimes it's a little fanning the flames. They do hate you. I also think they hate me. So sometimes not great, but I think a little bit of like, it is okay to be worried about that.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. That's my absolutely not, is like playing that game.
Yes.
Of like, don't worry about it. Like, do.
Screw you. And it's like, I hate you.
I absolutely hate that. Other thing I hate, super minor. Okay. I don't want to hear that people don't like paper straws. I absolutely, just a different thing, just a different tirade altogether.
We're going in a different direction.
When did like, why is that? I also hate them. Like, yeah, they suck.
They're never good.
You know why we invented paper straws? Because we hated metal. No, because we were killing the planet. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but it's like no one was like, we need a better plastic straw.
You know what's better than plastic? Something that slowly disintegrates.
No, that's not why we're doing it. Like no restaurant that's giving you a paper straw is doing it because they think you're really gonna love it.
Right. No, it's strictly an ecological thing.
Yes. And I don't know. And it's right? Like, we can have the big boy conversation of like that I hear all the time with paper straws of like, are these straws really what's killing the planet? Or is it these big businesses? And like, I've heard it and I agree, like
I hear you.
There are bigger factors. And is this also a good thing? Yes. Like let's take the one
both can be true
convenience out of use a paper straw. Doesn't bother me.
Or just don't use a straw.
Or just don't use a straw. Get your lips wet.
Get your lips wet. Or hell, I mean,
hey ladies, get your lips wet.
Oh no. Uh-oh. We dove into horrific territory. Oh goodness. Oh no.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Thank you, Zach, for editing the podcast.
Yeah, you bet. Zach Bruner, if you have a problem with that saying, by the way, go on Twitter, and I would like you to tweet at Fantasy Flurry, my account. Say how upset you were by that.
By that comment right there. Well, on the trail of Twitter, go ahead and follow us at I don't think so _EH. We've been doing a lot better. Keeping up with it, and that is because Hannah has taken over. So good for her.
Aye, Captain.
She's doing great. We will see you all next week, Wednesday. Thanks, Jake, for coming out.
Thanks. And by the way, a pleasure to be, and I mean this sincerely, my favorite podcast.
Woohoo!
I know, it's great. You and Hannah do a really good job. And so, Hannah, listening to this back, hopefully you've kept your attention. This is your reward. We've said your name. It's a great show. So I hope people like it. I hope I didn't ruin an episode. And until next time, save a turtle. Get your lips wet.
Get your lips wet. Bye.